So the share price of Forty Oil jumped yesterday on the news that the integrated energy giant says he's suspending his plan to float equity offering about 20 billion naira. The share price was up 4.18% to 49.90 when the market closed. Let's look at the big seven on daily tracking of this. We got 3 green shoots, and Forty Oil was a comeback kid on the block on Wednesday, the 3rd trading day of the week. Cod oil, Double One and MRS was unchanged. Owando added 4.42% on the back of 4.340 million ordinary shares. That stock is still pulling volume almost on a daily basis to the upside or to the downside. Closing price, 5.90 naira. Seplat was unchanged at 4.50, and of course, Total PLC came back from the red on Tuesday to rally 3.54% to 231 on Tuesday. That sector was one of the major gainers. We've seen that for a second trading day. This week, that sector up 2.33%. Let's leave that till towards the end of the program to show you the trading day review. But let's get a big story around Nigeria's, what will be our agenda, the OPEC meeting tomorrow in Vienna. The junior oil minister, Dr. Kacheku, is jetting out of Abuja today for that meeting. And he says last week, Wednesday, that Nigeria would not submit to any haircut at this meeting. So let's see what happens and how will Kacheku be sitting at the table and discussing with other oil ministers and what is in this meeting for us. Ada Konobi from Financial Derivatives. Good morning.
Good morning, Bozo.
It's good to have you here. So let's start from what we know, that this meeting, the junior oil minister, deputy oil minister, has already showed his hands what he wants. No bargaining, no cutback. That's what Nigeria wants.
Well, if you look at compared the OPEC report that came out in August, so that our production actually exceeded the production cap of 1.8 to 1.86 million barrels per day. So that is why like Nigeria and Libya are actually brought on table to discuss compliance amongst other members. Because the reason why we were actually given an exemption in the first was because of the because of the suffering of our oil sector. We are coming out of a recession and the economy is growing, and the main reason for the growth in GDP was the oil sector. So now it's time to go back to the drawing board. Do we bring these guys back into the play, and both Nigeria and Libya have to cut down production? But this is, we are not sure what the decision will be, but so far there's positive sentiment in the sense that most members are complying. And the minister has said that he's committed to the cuts and he's committed to working with fellow OPEC members. We have to remember that Nigeria is a price follower and not a price leader. And our total production to the OPEC output is just 5%. So, so far, but then our production is creeping up 1.8 million barrels per day. But if you look at it on average, it's not there yet, because our production in July was about 1.7. So net it isn't over 1.8 just
Technically
yet.
Speaking, therefore, we're not in the position to get a haircut.
It depends. If we continue to produce above the cap, then if we get the average, it will go above 1.8 million barrels per day. But this is as long as we comply so far. But yes, we would see the outcome of the meeting.
Is it likely that this meeting, which Saudi Arabia and Russia, as the big boys in the room, will say, well, Nigeria, you're not yet ready for a cut, but get ready for November meeting, or perhaps March next year?
It is very possible. We need to know that the aim, generally, OPEC was to curb the excess glut that we've had for a couple of years now. And now the meeting is to go back to the drawing board, look at the objectives, look at compliance among members, look at possibility of even deepening cuts further past March 28. So these are all the things that will be put into consideration.
Some talks are around that end, isn't it? That maybe that we need another 1 million barrels. The world market needs another 1 million shave.
Well, that is what Iraqi is kind of putting on the table, that I think the market needs deeper cuts and not just 1.2 that we
But Iraq is producing at a fast and furious pace. I see the numbers.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, but like we pointed out, compliance is improving. 94% is a significant improvement to 85% last month. So far, it seems like everyone wants to have oil prices stabilize at $50 to at most $60 per barrel this year.
We're around 56. So let's move to the price side of the discussion. We're around 56 Brent. We're going for this meeting. So it looks like almost everybody around the table in the room will be happy that prices was stable. Even the U.S. oil was about 50
Exactly.
yesterday. But again, if you look at the U.S. right now, with all the hurricanes and storm and what have you, landing on in Florida, Miami, whatever, it looks like the shale story seemed to be taking a bit of a background before this meeting, unlike the last meeting when the shale producers were the one dictating what will be said at the meeting even before the meeting got started.
Yes, you're right that the U.S. has somewhat taken a backseat as they're trying to deal with the natural disaster that they're currently having, which had a massive, which disrupted the refinery activities massively. But then there are a couple of reasons why we're seeing oil prices trade above $56 per barrel. That is due to the interest that the U.S. Fed's left interest rate unchanged. And typically, what happened is that the dollar weakened, and if the dollar is weaker, that encourages purchase of commodities that are dominated in the dollar. There's a positive sentiment surrounding OPEC's decision. So the market has priced, factored everything into the price that there probably will be tighter compliance amongst producers. And the EIU report came in and said that U.S. inventories actually increased very marginally compared to expectations. So that means the U.S. is actually still trying to recuperate from the natural disasters that they're going through. So these are all what is making oil prices quite bullish right now.
Look at where we are in terms of let's come back home and deal with the issues of how much we're producing. We're a little bit some notch 1.86, so we're not yet at 1.9 yet. But again, we're still looking for more oil.
Yes, we are looking for more oil.
And the news is that we're now heading to the northwest, which is very quiet, not as deadly as the northeast of the Maiduguri Lake Chad Basin. So we're going in search of oil in the north, east, west, and again, the Benue Niger State corridor basin is also another area where the NNPC says, the government says they want to search for oil. If we find oil here, this won't happen overnight, will it?
No, it definitely is a long-term. It is a long-term project. But then, seems like every state wants to be, somewhat account to oil. But then, it's going to cost a lot of money drilling for oil, and if it's a hit or miss, that's a lot of funds
Search
gone.
for oil costs money.
It definitely does cost a lot of money. Costs a lot of money.
Costs money.
And now we have to be very careful now with OPEC's cap of 1.8 million barrels per day extending into March, and the possible extension of the probability of a deeper cut, and even extending it further to 6 months. So if we have these productions coming up and we have a cap of 1.8, how is that going to
play out?
Play out?